trade deficit narrowed in July as exports climbed to their highest level in almost 2 years. The U.S. trade deficit with China also narrowed. Here with reaction now and some broader perspective is U.S. Trade Ambassador Ron Kirk. He joins me via phone from Los Angeles. Sir, I want to get to why you're in California, but first let's start off with your reaction to these figures this morning. This level of exports climbing is seen as a good thing, but some say there are orders from Boeing that are sort of skewing the numbers here. What's the right way to read the deficit today?
Well, Margaret, I think your analysis is an honest one. First of all, it is good news, and particularly if you look over a perspective of the last 2 quarters, our exports have been holding at a fairly steady clip and making a very strong contribution to our underlying economic recovery. But I try to caution against being overly optimistic, just as I did last month when we were being hammered over the deficit widening, that these things can be cyclical month to month, and certainly this month was largely influenced by Boeing's recent sales, but that's a good thing. What we have to do and what we're focused on in the administration is make us not so dependent on the success of sales and exports of some of these large ticket items like airplanes, and that's part of the rationale behind the president's broader export initiative to make sure that we're paying attention to other sectors as well within manufacturing, agriculture, the service economy, and especially trying to involve more small to medium-sized businesses so we can have a greater breadth of our exports. But, for this month, it's a good story. We just have to see if we can't find a way to replicate that in other sectors.
Well, you've been vocal about making trade a critical pillar of the president's economic policy, but we're still seeing these free trade agreements with Colombia, with South Korea, with Panama really stalled because of opposition from the Democratic Party. Are you close to building consensus here, and when are we going to see those actually passed?
Well, I want to make it plain that they're not solved just from opposition on a party standpoint. Each of those 3 free trade agreements stalled during the previous administration for different reasons. One was the very legitimate concerns expressed by a number of members of Congress of both parties and from our civil sector over levels of violence in Colombia. And with respect to Panama, we had the unfortunate circumstance of their having elected as head of their parliament a gentleman who'd been convicted of murder in the United States, and what the issues are on Korea. That being said, President Obama has clearly articulated and made it a priority as part of our effort to double our exports that we have to find a way to solve the outstanding issues on those so we can move forward. And we have been working diligently with all 3 countries to see if we can't resolve them, and hopefully we're going to be in a position to begin to have movement on those within the near future.
The near future, but November perhaps a little too early?
That might be a bit ambitious.